Hello and welcome to On the Kerbs. I'm your host, Team Albers Daily. Joining me on this week's episode is motorsport photographer Beatriz Couto. We caught up recently to chat about how she followed in her father's footsteps to pursue her passion, how cutthroat photography really is in racing, what she looks for in the perfect shot, and a whole lot more. I hope you enjoy our conversation. Hi Beatriz, thank you very much for being here today. First of all, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. It's not every
My
day.
pleasure as well.
I love talking about motorsport, so it's a pleasure.
You came to the right place. And so the first question I want to ask you then is the cliche old question of what first got you interested in motorsport?
My dad. So I normally say that motorsport chose me through my dad, and at some point I chose it back. So he's also a photographer for like almost 20 years now. He's also a fan, obviously. And so he kind of stepped on and showed me the ropes of the business of motorsport. And the passion just keeps growing. So,
Did you watch a lot of motorsport with him growing up then, or was he taking you to where he was taking the photographs, or was it maybe a blend of both?
a little bit of both, yeah. I grew up hearing, for example, about Formula One, about rally, Carlos Sainz, Schumacher in Formula One, Senna. And then sometimes we would go as a family to rallies here in Portugal. And that would just keep the passion going. And in 2012, 11, I started to do it more professionally and started to go just me with him.
And with rallies as well, you can get so close to the action as well. So I imagine that was quite an adrenaline-fueled experience for you as well, and thinking, oh, I really can't get much closer.
Yeah. I remember being little and being really happy in the mountains somewhere in Portugal, watching rally cars go by. Waking up early I'm waking up early to go to a rally was really awesome. There's actually one of the pictures that I sent you. I was holding a teddy dog or something like that and a red hat, and I was also holding a rock. I used to pretend that rock was a camera. So there's or I used to do it with the decks of cards also, and the cards would be the pictures.
You had a strong imagination.
Yeah. So they tell me, oh, you were a photographer even when you weren't a photographer. Since you were little, you had this passion. So that came really at a young age.
So you beat me to my next question because I was curious about what drew you to photography, but that was your dad as well, and just seemed to be the hybrid of everything there. So it's interesting that you've followed in the footsteps there quite so closely. And what is it then about the photography that you love so much? Because obviously there is that shared element with your dad that you have through the racing as well, but you must have your own personal preferences that maybe he doesn't share completely.
Yeah. So we have a similar approach to photography, but at the same time very different. His approach is more commercial. I can go to the details, to landscape. We complement each other at the same time.
You're a double threat if you team up on something.
Exactly. Exactly. We do work very well together. And yeah, I just sorry, I got lost a little bit. No, another memory just came. So what was your question?
Oh, so far. I was going to say, what is it about photography that you love so much for you specifically?
Yeah,
Then, like you say, you focus more on the details, so maybe that's where you got lost.
and people's because that a memory came about this year. I was watching Rally Monte Carlo, and I remember thinking, wow, the cars go by so fast, and we have people from the outside of photography saying, oh, we probably, guys, you don't watch it, you don't get to watch the rally, you don't get to appreciate it. But I feel like with photography we appreciate it in a different level. We can see if a wheel is up, if there's something broken in those tiny seconds. We can figure it out so much. And I look at pictures and I remember emotions that I was feeling. For example, I remember one picture that I took of Craig Breen this year in Amarante. And I remember thinking, oh, I was so happy. And remember feeling really happy about him. And it became one of my favorite pictures ever, because I remember how I was in awe with him.
You
So
literally have snapshot memories that can trigger you straight away.
when you asked me for pictures, I don't have a lot of pictures of myself taking the pictures.
That's the
But
photographer way, I feel like. There's about 1,000 of everything except you.
exactly. And I remember it was really hard choosing some of my work, because I have so many emotions and moments attached to those pictures. Like, it's kind of difficult to choose. So
Well, I imagine,
those
for example, if you have a specific photo in mind, there's all the setup that it takes to get there, because you've got to find the right spot. You've got to wait, in theory, if it's something like Rally Monte Carlo, they're not going around a track. It's a rally. So you've got to wait, and you've got to hope that you can get it at just the right moment, and then hopefully the shot itself is actually decent after that, and you haven't had all this long time finding the location, waiting there, and then take the photo for it to not be worth it then. So I can understand why that you might have an extra of a satisfaction for some maybe than others, or why there is particular emotion attached to a particular photo.
And sometimes we get that preparation about a spot, and we just like, oh, this is the perfect spot. We get there and it's completely different. There's trees, there's nature just started to go closer to the stage, and you're just like, oh, what now? And then you have to quickly adapt, and that's
Climb a
another thing.
tree.
Yeah, almost. I haven't got to that point yet, but and that's what I love about this type of photography, because we get to we prepare things, but at the same time we have to be prepared for the unexpected. So keeping us on our toes.
I'm intrigued then, like you say, you've been doing this for a while now, and you had this whole shared history with your dad growing up. But where and when was your first race for taking photos?
Um,
That might be asking too much there from the look on your face, but
because pre-COVID we used to do almost 40 events a year
well, I'm asking you
between
to really jog the memory then.
between rally and hill climbs, cross country, circuits. But I think more seriously when I started to see my name on the pictures was probably 2012 in the Rally Famalicão. It's for the regional championship up north. So
Is that a bit
I
of a
do
surreal feeling seeing your name?
Yeah, I remember perfectly the first time that I used to do it with one of those small cameras. But in that rally, my dad put me the Nikon, a professional one in hand, and I remember holding it like it was a baby. Like, oh, this is a big deal. It was I remember that moment very well, and I remember now I hold it so naturally, but that moment was like I was holding a baby.
It's
Felt
like you've
very
graduated almost, isn't it? Because you've been practicing for so long with it, and now you've got the real thing there, and you know that you can do a lot more with it. But also, it's a lot more expensive if you drop that one.
exactly. I hurt myself this year trying to protect the camera.
I had a
So I
feeling you
was
were going to say because it was of you trying to save the camera there.
I should wear glasses while shooting because of the lazy eye, but I don't want it because I already have one expensive thing in front of my face. I don't want two expensive things. So yeah, I really tried to. It's expensive, but with the camera really, it's important. Yes, the equipment is important, but I
It's how
believe
you
that
use it.
yeah, it depends on your. For me, it's the passion that counts the most. The
I
talent
think
comes with.
that's a thing that I find with a lot of photographs that you see a lot of the time is that it'd be pretty hard to distinguish the photographers from the photos because they're just a lot of them look very similar, and maybe that's with intent. But I think it's quite interesting to see when you do see a photographer or selection of photos that do stand out and are a bit different. Then it's like, oh, that looks like it could have been taken by X person or Y person, and it just makes it more interesting to look at, I think, because it's not just for example, Carlos Sainz winning in Singapore, it's through this particular lens. There's something extra to it that sets it apart from the rest. And it does actually lead me into a question I did want to ask you there. So obviously you take God knows how many photos over the course of a single event. What do you look for afterwards? I know going through them all that makes it stand out from the rest for you to make you think this is the one I want to use.
Yeah. We look for the commercial side of it, but also landscapes, or like I said before, during those moments where we are capturing the image, we can see if there's a wheel up, so we know, oh, this picture is good. For example, one of the pictures I sent you, it's the Ford Puma in the dust, but there's the mountains in the background.
Yeah.
Remember that I took that picture and I thought, okay, this is a picture. This is a very good picture.
I do remember thinking that was a particularly standout
Yeah.
one when I was flicking through the ones you sent over. Like, ooh, okay, I see why she sent that one.
I remember taking that picture and I was like, yeah, this is it. This is a picture.
Is it kind of part of the time you're looking for certain things, but also there's an instinctual element to it where you just get that feeling and you're like, oh.
It comes with practice, really. We know exactly in the beginning. I speak for myself. I used to cut pictures, but with the practice, with training, now I know if I cut a picture or if I should, open the lens a little bit more. Those technical aspects in those seconds, you can understand what you did wrong, what you did right, if it's a picture or not.
It's similar to a driver doing a qualifying lap around a circuit. Maybe it's kind of you need to do a certain few of them before you realize, okay, I need to maybe get on the brakes earlier there, accelerate more out of this corner, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Those seconds where you can, exactly like that.
Is there a fun racing related story that you could share then from your countless events that you've been to?
Wow.
Probably drinking too many memories there.
Yeah, at the same time, I think one of them more recently is when I Rally Portugal last year, when it's probably not funny, but it's one that really spoke to me. It's one that I hold very dear in my heart. So I woke up on a Wednesday, Rally Portugal week, not having a credential for Rally Portugal because it's very complicated to get one here for us, the Portuguese photographers. It's very,
yeah.
So I had to ask for help. My dad asked for help. And I wake up Wednesday morning feeling really sad because it's Rally Portugal. And once again, I'm not that you really need a credential to go to certain places, but it helps.
It helps.
And it's a goal that I had, doing it properly in my country. So I was very sad, I was down already thinking, I won't watch Rally Portugal because it really hurts,
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, before lunch, my dad got a call. So from a friend of ours, can you come to the service park? I can get you the credential. So basically, I went there. I arrived at 12. No, not 12. 2 p.m. and I only left at 8:30 p.m. because I was getting signatures and I remember being so overwhelmed by everything that I forgot to eat during. But then I got
60 like that.
Exactly. It was very, very tough, but at the same time it was funny because I remember waking up thinking, yeah, it's only a miracle, and then it happened. I have a lot of stories. So like now it's funny, but running from a car in Azores. Luckily we had a gate separating us, but what I take most from those stories are really the people that we meet, that become friends. So
It's like you say with
we
the Portugal rally, for example, if your dad didn't have that connection there, that story might not have happened at all. And it's all about just hopefully knowing enough people that and just making a good enough impression that they're willing to help you in when you do need it.
yeah, the network is very important, and being kind to people, being open to people, made that happen. And we are here to basically help the sport grow. So obviously it's a business, but most of all we want the sport to do well. That's
Off
the
the back of that, then, because I'm intrigued there, and you set that up perfectly for me, as if you've read my mind on the questions I want to ask you. Um, Driver market in all of motorsport can be seen as pretty cutthroat at times, and I always see a fair amount of photographers at any event. So I'm curious, does the cutthroat nature transfer over to the world of photography, and what's your thought on that? And or is it kind of all right, like you say, there's a good network there for people to help each other, and I was just kind of intrigued about that aspect of it because I don't feel like it's something that if it exists on any particular level that you hear much about it.
well, I feel like in Portugal we could be more united when it comes to, well, let's call it media. It's still very an individual thing. We talk with the other colleagues about it, that we should, like not a union, but as the same way that the drivers have a representative in our federation, it's lacking someone to do that. So it's lacking a bridge between us, the organizers of rallies, of hill climbs, and our federation. And I don't know about other parts of the world, but I feel like it's similar. But here we should be a little bit more respected. There should be more like a control about, so we don't, most of the times we are the bad guys in events. When we do, I'm probably, yeah, when we do most of the press for it, I'm forgetting the word.
It's okay.
So the promotion of the
Mhm.
events are mostly done by the drivers and by us, but while we share pictures, videos, press releases, the promotion is basically done by the drivers and by us. So there's a lack of, especially in Portugal, I feel like media should be a little bit more respected and better looked at during,
Like you said, there's
especially.
that network where you're willing to help each other, but maybe a more formal approach to that so that you can get the credits and help that you deserve in making it work out for everyone so that it's not just this is all you can do and it's going to be difficult for you to navigate after that.
Exactly. Network is like we have the sympathy for one another, but at the same time you feel like there's that, oh no, that this is my business. I don't have anything to do with your business.
Mhm.
There's a little bit
Stay in
of a
your lane.
distance. Yeah. The same way that drivers, I say it again, the same way they have a representative, we should have a representative, so we can go, for example, to FIA and say, we through our say, for example, we need to be more respected in our events, because okay, it's an international event, your photographers, okay, but don't forget about us, the
Yeah.
national, that's the national media. That homework to see who makes, the respect for the national media needs to be taken care of.
That makes sense. Makes sense. And like you say, it's you've all got the same interest and the same passion. You're there for the same reason. So there's no reason why it shouldn't be if like you say, if it works well in one country, there's no reason why it shouldn't work just as well in another just because. So,
I
and like you
hope.
say, you're all there anyway for the same reason to promote the sport and to help build it up, like you say. So, while there's naturally going to be an element of competition, as there always is going to be, that doesn't mean that it can't be a more level playing field.
Yeah, exactly. For example, we have people saying that for the WRC, it's in Portugal, it's tougher than any other WRC event. And wow, okay. So,
Clearly
you
some
see,
issues there, then.
and you see, oh, maybe we should work on that. But let's hope there's another miracle.
I'll
Yeah.
never say never, and there's always a lot of things changing and evolving in motorsport and just on the driver side of things. So who knows? Maybe someone watches this or listens to this and we can get
Yeah,
something sorted.
we
Who
need
knows?
that in Portugal. We need that in
Just
Portugal.
send
We
in an
need,
attachment to all the people that can do something about it. See what happens.
yeah, we need a refresh in Portugal. But
I've
let's
accidentally
see.
started a photographic revolution in Portugal with a podcast. What's happened here?
Maybe I'll let you know if something happens.
I'll be looking at the phone and thinking, what on earth is everyone messaging me about? Oh dear, it's happened. Right, okay.
So
So you were saying as well earlier that you've been to a lot of different events of all different categories, and I'm curious about which events you'd love to cover in the future that you haven't had the chance to yet.
on I mean in rally, the WRC events, for example, New Zealand, Kenya, Monte Carlo, Finland. Even I'm a big fan of Wales Rally GB. It's
Mhm.
very sad that it's not on the calendar anymore. It's one of my favorites. In F1, Silverstone, Imola, Monza. Oh, there's so many.
This
I
might have
I
been
would
easy
like.
to ask you which ones you didn't want to cover, but I don't think there are any that you wouldn't want to do.
I'm open to do it all, even if I'm not a big
Yeah, I
fan
thought
of.
that might be what you said.
Yeah, there's always an event that you hold dearest to your heart, or for the
You had to
technical
choose one of
aspect
them, if I'm going to be really mean.
in rally, or
Yeah, then go and rally. We'll be really mean about it and make you choose a rally one.
I would say Kenya.
Why?
Kenya, the magnitude of that place, the pictures, the images that we get from that place where nature meets rally cars, and all of a sudden you're watching the stream and you see two zebras just crossing the stage. It gets really raw there, while probably in other places, it's more city, it's more. But Kenya in gravel, I love gravel events. They are my favorite, and if you get mud, better. Um,
A
but
bit like you were
the
saying earlier with the photographs, it's just that instinctual that you
yeah,
can't put your finger on it, but it's got that magic something.
exactly. Just the roughness of that place, and the challenges that present us to the drivers. It's entertaining for us. And we also the I get it. The pictures that we get, it's what gets me the most. That makes me, oh, that's Kenya. In the Formula One, maybe because I'm a big Ferrari fan, probably Monza or Imola.
That's fair enough. I can't fault that logic.
Yeah. So I would choose those. Yeah.
Some solid choices there. Can't go wrong with Monza or with Kenya for WRC there. So that's pretty good. I'm intrigued then, like you were saying earlier, when you were starting out and figuring out what the good parts of photography or what the bad parts are, what you needed to do to improve all these kinds of things. What should a new and aspiring photographer do to make themselves stand out, do you think, from what you've learned?
Oh, I've someone asked me that question a while ago, and I remember saying, just the keep connecting the photography to your passion, to your instinct.
Hmm.
That, for example, I can say that one time my dad said, "Oh no, stay on this side of the stage. It's better." And I was like, I don't think so. I don't. Something was not right. So
Hmm.
in safety, because safety is very. We
I
never
was
put our
walking across the track and I was like, just wait a minute.
safety first always. I had time before the rally cars came, so I crossed to the other side of the stage, and I was like, oh yeah, there was some vineyards on the background, and I said, no, this is a place. So connecting your passion, your intuition to photography, and you can't go wrong. If you trust yourself, if you trust your gut and keep practicing, I think that's what I would advise. That's what I did, basically.
Also, in the photographs that you sent over to me, there are obviously a lot of drivers in and amongst all of that. I'm going to be mean again. Is there a favorite in amongst all of that, where maybe not necessarily one that you photographed, but also one that you probably did photograph, and it was just there was one that stood out to you the most, or one that was most satisfying to you, maybe a favorite from those as an individual?
So you're asking me which one is my favorite rally driver?
I was trying to find a longer way of doing that, so you might not notice, but yes.
I have a few, and I'm
I'll give you
not very.
three.
For example, I will
We'll
give.
negotiate.
I hope the ones that happen to watch this, because some of them are my friends, so it's kind of. But I give Raimundo Araújo, a Portuguese rally driver that I've been watching his career develop since I was a little girl, since the beginning of his career.
Mhm.
So it's, oh my God, que Raimundo Araújo. And now he
It's a
knows.
unique perspective, that one, because you get to kind of, you're growing as they're growing, you're seeing everything
Yeah.
from the beginning.
And sometimes when, how Alavia, how are you? And I was like, oh my God, he knows my name. No, at this point, there's still that little girl who freaks out about it. I remember the first time that I watched a WRC event, he was there back in 2000. It was like a sprint rally before Rally Portugal, 2014 or 13. I can't remember. Another driver that is also my friend is Chris Ingram. He's helped me massively when it comes to mental health, and it's nice to have someone to talk to about this in this environment, because it's not very, unfortunately, it's not very common. You see some people now starting to get mental health up as a topic, so he also helped me quite a lot. There's so many names popping up. For example, Craig Green was and still is one of my references as a driver, especially when he says that we don't forget about fun. I really connect to that, There's so many in Formula One. Schumacher is
You've had
my.
three. You've had three.
I had three, right? But Formula One, you
We'll
didn't
be here
say.
for ages.
Oh yeah, I could be here for ages. Yeah, but those are like my top, and obviously Colin McRae. I couldn't forget about that one.
Sneak one in at the end there. Fair enough. No, I knew I was potentially opening a can of worms there. So
We could stay here like a week
no,
almost.
it's a nice three or four to have though, and like you say, it's not all for the same reason. You've got like one for seeing the journey play out. You've
Yeah.
got one for the mental health side of things. You've got one for the fun aspect of it, and then you've just got a personal favorite because we've all got that soft spot occasionally for
Yeah.
someone. So, a couple of fun non-motorsport related questions then to finish it off.
Sure.
Would you prefer for someone to paint you or to make a sculpture out of you? Not a sculpture out of you, sorry, sculpture of you. That was very nearly a very bloody question.
Oh, that's a very interesting. Probably a paint, because I like that art. I like painting.
Would you go for like a
So
classical portrait of you or something more modern?
the classics. You can go wrong with the classic. Yeah.
You really can't. Correct answer.
Yeah.
And then if you could click your fingers and make one thing appear at will, what would it be and why?
Jesus. The first answer that came to my mind was a Subaru Impreza for some reason. Because I've never seen one being driven, properly, like
But
Colin
every
McRae.
time you click your fingers, that's what's going to appear. You could
Yeah,
just be in your living room and it's going to be there.
exactly. For some reason, that was the
It's
first thing that
wildly
got.
impractical, but I think I want to keep that answer.
Otherwise, I don't know. I really don't. Probably more cameras. That would be nice.
More cap. See that one, I can understand that one. Although I still like the idea of you just sitting in a restaurant and you just absent-mindedly, like, bam,
I would go off in a
full-size
Subaru
car.
WRX. Yeah.
Yeah, you'd have some questions to answer. Oh, that's going to tickle me a lot now. I'm going to have fun maybe creating a graphic of some kind where I can make that happen. But I'll leave that to when I have far too much time on my hands, and I'll send that to you. Um, It's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you, and I want to thank you very much for your time and looking forward to seeing where you pop up next. Probably several more events before the end of the year.
Oh yeah, I hope so. The goal is to go more international now. So I'm working on it. So
And
thank you
look
for
forward to
having
seeing it. Kenya.
me. Yeah, that one would be awesome. Who knows?
Thanks again to Beatriz for coming onto the Kerbs with me. I can't wait to see how she gets on in the rest of 2023. If you want to follow her career, links to her socials will be in the description below, so do go and check those out. Join me again next time when I'll be chatting to another famous face from the world of motorsport. In the meantime, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, as well as check out the back catalogue of episodes on the On the Kerbs channel. If you want even more from me, you can listen to me chat about everything Formula 1 over on the Undercut Podcast, as well as delving into the world of Nitro Cross over on the Nitro RX Podcast. Both available wherever you get your podcasts. As for written content, I currently write for Is It Fast and Paddock Sorority, so be sure to check all of them out with original pieces released each week. All of the information and links for those will be in the description below, as well as my Instagram handle if you want to go and follow me there. Thank you very much for listening, and I'll be back soon with another episode.